In 1994, before social media, the way we got jobs as a professional speaker was to do a showcase. A showcase is where a speakers bureau, who represents speakers, hires or invites 100 of their best clients, national associations, big companies. They go into a room, then they handpick 20 speakers to come and we audition. It's called a showcase. It's really hard. The room is full of people who, they didn't ask any of us to come speak. So it's not a warm audience. And every 10 minutes, we have someone who has climbed Mount Everest, is an expert in sales, leadership, juggles, is a comedian, life balance, near death. The audience is like this by 3 o'clock. I am brand new with 19 other seasoned professionals. I am so nervous confident. I want to do it, I want to take the leap, but ugh. Well, 10 minutes sounds like not very long, but let me tell you just how long it turned out to be. In the first 2 minutes, I start shaking. I start sweating. My mouth is really dry. I can't breathe. First I hyperventilate, and then I can't breathe. I can't. Well, here's how speaking works. You have to have air going over your vocal cords. And so instead of taking a deep breath, I just kept forcing more air out over my vocal cords. And then my eyes would get big. I have a voice up here who's saying, "Oh my God, you're having a panic attack. Don't do this. Breathe, Mary, you have to breathe. You're going to pass out on stage if you don't breathe." I have a voice over here saying, "I hope you realize your speaking career is over. No one's ever going to take a chance on somebody who has a panic attack on stage. It's O-V-E-R, over." In addition, there are 19 other professional speakers. And let me just tell you about professional speakers. We talk. And this is going to spread like Hollywood gossip. I'm done. So I got this voice, I got this voice, I got this body who is trying to do. Now I have tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is right before you pass out. Okay, so how I got through it, I don't know. But I didn't pass out, but I see the bathroom in the back. And all I want to do is get off stage and make a beeline to the ladies' room, close the door, and burst into tears. So how I make it, I don't know, but I come off stage, I now take a breath, and everybody keeps coming up to me going, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing. We loved it. Here's our card. We'd love for you to come speak to our company." This is surreal. What? Finally, after about the 5th or 6th person, I got the courage to say, "Really, what did you write? What did you like?" And the woman said, "Oh, you took my breath away with those dramatic pauses." That was 25 years ago. So the creative process, it is terrifying and scary and dicey and messy and sticky, and it's also exhilarating and fun and wow and rewarding and so, so worth it. So today I want to talk with you about how to navigate some of that. You have a handout, or you did have a handout. Do you have a handout? No. Okay, you're going to have to write on your hand. That's all right. So the first thing we have to do, let me just preface this. So I know that lots of you have a wide variety of projects that you're working on. Children's books and essays and memoirs and screenplays and everything. So here is the code word for all of those. Book. When I say book, I mean whatever you're working on. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is to really ask for what we want. Most of us are very eager, whatever our project is, and we are trained and rewarded to do something. Let's do it. Let's make a to-do list. But really the very first step is to ask what you want. Edwina Gaines, who's a spiritual teacher, said, the biblical phrase is ask and you shall receive. It is not make me guess. So when the greatest teachers of all times wanted answers, they sat in the trees, they went to the tops of mountains, They spent 40 days in the desert. Gandhi did not start screaming, hurry up people, let's go, 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 move, 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 I need world peace, I need it right now. He got still. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I want you to just put down things, if you can, for a second. And I want you to close your eyes. Keep them closed till I tell you to open them. I want to think about why you're here. I want you to think about whatever writing project you have, thing on your bucket list. It doesn't matter. Just ask, what is it that I really, really want? And remember to breathe. Okay, now I want you to turn to somebody, left or right, or both, and I want you in one sentence tell them what you want. Get on your mark, get set, go. Okay, let's bring it back. So now that you know what you want, you would think the next thing is, okay, can I please now get to the part where I get to do something? Well, what do I need to do? I still don't think is the better question yet. I think a much better question is, what do I need to quit? Because I've come to understand that when we set a goal or an intention like you just did, there are things in the way of that. And unless you're willing to quit them, it's going to feel like you are swimming in wet cement. Lots of effort and exhaustion, not that much to show for it. I learned this lesson when I was 57 years old and I started ballroom dance lessons. It had been half a century since I had taken a dance lesson, and I walked into the classroom, the ballroom there, with my new hot Latin dance machine, Manny PLL, yes. And he took me for a little test drive, just to kind of see what I could do. So the first thing I did wrong was I danced like this. Yeah, like I'm the only one in the room that dances like that. Okay, what did I do wrong? Yeah, I flapped my arms. Manny stopped and said, Mary, the funky chicken is not a sanctioned ballroom dance. I said, okay. So the next thing I did wrong was when he did an underarm turn, he raised his arm, and I went under it. What did I do wrong? He said, Mary, just like there's no crying in baseball, there is no ducking in dance. You have to own that turn. And the last thing that I did wrong was when we were dancing in hold, I would go like this. What did I do? Yeah, he stopped and said, checking for cockroaches. So I'm thinking, okay, no chickens, no ducks, no cockroaches. Dancing is kind of an animal control system. He said, look, if you will just quit all the movements that are in the way of the dance, I can teach you to be a good dancer. So, fast forward 6 more years, and I am taking dance lessons from the Ukrainian National Ballroom Dance Champions, Ina and Artem. I cannot say their last name, but it ends in They're amazing. They dance 40 miles an hour. It's just incredible. Ina's this big. So at the end of my 6 weeks, I had to do a little dance for them. So I did a dance, and I thought I did pretty good. You know, when I take my bow, and I'm expecting praise. And I'm expecting praise. And Ina's just standing there. And she comes over and she goes, Mary, you made 50 mistakes. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought, 50 mistakes in 2 minutes? How is that even possible? But I didn't want to be disrespectful to my teacher, so I said, 50 mistakes. And she said, yes, you made 50 mistakes. But she said, you didn't make 50 different mistakes. You did one thing wrong 50 times. She said, you roll your shoulders forward. And that drops your head. And your head is heavy. And so that makes you unbalanced. And all your turns are wobbly. She said, if you would just quit rolling your shoulders forward, 50 mistakes will go away. So I want to show you what that feels like. Everybody stand up. Put down what you have in your lap. We're all going to become dancers for a moment. So we're going to start here with, I know we have a dance historian in the room. I told her to correct me, right? Make notes. If there are other dancers in the room, we dance from our core. So I need you to tighten up your core, all right? Get even weight on distribution on your feet, and then tilt your pelvis, roll your shoulders back, drop your lats, take your chin, not like this, but like somebody's pulling your head up like that. Tighten your legs like the energy is going all the way to the center of the earth. And breathe. Now, ladies, you're going to go first. I'm going to teach you a dance, or a arm movement. So you hold your arm out like this. And I want you to make your hand pretty like you're holding an egg. All right? To the side as much as you can. And then here how it goes. You can follow me. So what time is it? Look at my hand. See my pretty dress. What time is it? Look at my hand. See my pretty dress. Keep your arms, shoulders back. Now practice that a little bit. Okay? All right, now you can put your arm down for a second. Now men. All right, you are all so tight and you have all that stuff and you're ready and you put your arm out. And it's more like, and you want to make it so that the energy is going right out the end. Put it out there. And now instead of an egg, it's more like holding a remote. So you are now strong like bull, strong like bull, strong like bull. Come on, give it to me. Strong like bull. There you go. Hold that remote. All right, now everybody. What, ladies, now put your hand out. Make yours pretty. Okay, give it to me. Let's go. All right. Now, hold it out there again. Now, everyone, roll your shoulders forward. Try it. Doesn't work, does it? Now roll your back. There. That is what quitting feels like. Let's see. So what do we quit? We quit everything that's in the way of your project. How do we quit? Well, there's lots of ways. But I would suggest graciously, consciously, in line with your highest values. My favorite anti-smoking slogan was, cold turkey is better than dead duck. So that may be a way. It may take Dr. Phil at 3 o'clock or your best friend, medication, whatever. Quit. That's how you quit. When do you quit? Well, there is a timing to the universe. Sometimes it's now, sometimes it's later. But I've discovered that most of the time, it's sooner than we think it is. So when are you going to quit your thing? And why do we quit? Well, for two reasons. One is it's in the way, and it's just not going to work if it's in the way. And the other is that it is so much easier to get what you want if you do have that. So what to quit, when to quit, how to quit, and why you are quitting. So in preparation for this, let's see, oh, here we go. In preparation for this speech, I wrote to several of the people that I've helped write their books and coach, and I asked them, what was the best piece of advice I gave you? Remarkably, it was in two categories. So I'm going to start with telling you two things that I think you should quit, and then we're going to move to you into things that you know you should quit. The first woman wrote to me, Mary, the best advice you gave me was around the time of my 5th or 6th draft. I felt it was 100% ready. I felt proud of it, and most importantly, I was completely sick of it, and I wanted it to be done. I had given you a copy, again, and I seriously thought you would say, no feedback, it's ready. You did not. Instead, you handed me a bloodied manuscript with lots of comments about how I needed to be clear and how I was confusing the reader. You said I could do better. This was the best piece of advice. After picking myself up off the floor and some cursing in your direction, I rewrote those sections, hired a terrific editor. Every time someone reaches out to me to share how my book has impacted them, I breathe a sigh of relief that I did not release that not yet ready manuscript. Now, I want to preface the next response with the advice that Anne Lamott offers. Anne Lamott, who wrote Bird by Bird and a number of other bestsellers. In this book on writing, she says that you must have the courage to write the shitty first draft. And those are her words. And that has always struck with me because there is the resistance to write that draft. And we have to get over that. So the next person who wrote back said, Mary, I can't forget our meeting when I handed you the first draft of 2 chapters of my book. You read it, smiled, and lovingly said, well, Lori, you've heard it said, everyone is entitled to a shitty first draft. I thought, what? It can't be that bad. It turns out it was just about the second step in 100 more. That statement, however, gave me permission to let myself write and rewrite and rewrite and know that it was okay and would even make the final product the best it could be. And here's the sentence that I wish if I didn't have ethics, I could steal. She said, I doused the expectation of myself that my first shot had to be my best shot. I have always said that we don't write a book, we rewrite a book. Now, unfortunately, Hemingway said it before I did, and better. He said, the only kind of writing is rewriting. So I think, for me, the first thing I had to quit was thinking that somehow I was going to be able to bypass that shitty first draft, and the rewriting wouldn't apply to me. The corollary of that is the other thing I had to quit. I had to quit self-imposed deadlines. The ones that said I had to be done by June 1st or before that speaking engagement or whatever. You know, unless you have a legitimate reason for the self-imposed deadline, you know, maybe you have a contract where they're paying you money, and in that case, I suggest you leave right now and go write that. Or maybe it's timely, maybe it needs to be current, maybe it's an anniversary of something. Last night we heard from Tom Schulman, who said he had 10 days to rewrite Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That's a legitimate deadline. But all the rest of them, we make up in our head. I know that finished is better than perfect. I believe that. And no, you shouldn't use procrastination to never finish it. Your keynote speaker last year, author Sam Horn, said, books are like kids. The more you rush them, the slower they go. So the imaginary deadlines, they squelch our creativity, they make us feel guilty, they tell us that we're behind. Can you imagine if you were a little child drawing a beautiful picture and you're so excited about it, and somebody is standing over you going, hurry up, you've got 3 minutes, no, don't, there's the blue crayon, don't, come on, hurry up. What would happen to that child's creativity? That's you. So another one of my clients wrote, in the second and third books, I quit the rigid milestones and gave myself a lot more grace on time to completion. So I quit the voices in my head that said, you have to be done by the beginning of the year. At the writer's retreat, you asked me something like, would you rather have a book finished by the beginning of the year or have a product that you can be totally proud of? And another one wrote, the thing I had to quit was just what you warned me about. I drove myself batty with random, must have it done by Thanksgiving, or whatever deadlines. It's done when it's done, and that is always, always later than we imagine. No one ever said, boy, I wrote that book so fast, the time just flew. So what I would like you to do right now is, now you have your hand out, good. And I want you to write down, first of all, if you remember, write down what it is you want. That's the most important thing, that little piece, write what you want. And then write down 3 things that you have to quit that are in the way of that. Okay, we do have some mics here, and we have really great acoustics in here. I am not the only smart person in the room. There are a lot of good things that we could all benefit from quitting if you'll raise your hand and tell us what you're going to quit. So I want you to turn to the person sitting next to you and tell them what you're going to quit. Do it in groups of 2 or 3, just make sure nobody's left out. works in my programs. I will not call on you if you don't raise your hand, so you can relax. However, there's a corollary to that. If you hear something really good, you can volunteer your neighbor. Yeah. Okay, what do we got? What are you going to quit? Yes.
Listening to that voice in my head that says my writing isn't good enough.
Listening to the voice in your head that says your writing isn't good enough. I just want to tell you, you're the only one in the room who has that voice. If you have captured it, yes. Yes, the critic that sits on there, and that. Right. Since you brought that up, it's one of the things I'm going to talk about in the workshop, but I do want to tell it. Here's one of the ways to, I think, helps fix that. You put your critic on your shoulder, and I call him editor, because that's a lot nicer, and you need your editor. And I say, look, I have the creator here, and she's working on things. And so if you would just hold off, as soon as she's done, you have the mouse, and you can do whatever you want. And you know what? Then I'm going to tell the creator that she has to be quiet, that she can't say, no, don't cut that out, that's good, no. So everybody gets their turn, and you keep a little balance that way. So yes, quitting that would be excellent. Who else? Yes?
I tend to feel guilty for making time for my projects. If other people in life need things from me, or whether it's spouse or my students, and I like to quit feeling guilty for giving myself the time.
Okay, so she feels guilty about giving herself the time that she needs to do her project. So who's got a solution to that? What have you tried? Yes?
I make appointments with myself as a time management tool.
Make appointments with yourself as a time management tool. It's a job now, isn't it? It's not fluff. It's a job, it's a mission, there's a book in there, it has to come out. And setting up a ritual to do that. Can you have a conversation with the people and say, look, this is what I'm so passionate about. How can we all figure out everybody gets their needs met and I can do this? Would that work?
Well, I don't think the people in my life are encouraging it. It's just like a personal conversation.
It's a person. Don't make me come over there. But she brings up an excellent point. There is a worthiness thing that I think all creative people have. It's not something you can measure like, I've already made this and shipped it, or I've made this much money already on it. This creative work that we pour into it. Yeah, giving it value. Just speaking in loud sometimes helps, because we're all staring at you now going, stop that. Very good. Who else? Yes?
Stop being ashamed of exposing yourself.
Oh, the vulnerability. We're going to talk a little bit about that in the next little module, but yes, she said ashamed at exposing myself. We're going to be judged, aren't we? And what if they don't like me or disagree with me? Disagree, yes. And if you heard Tom Schulman talk last night, he was so good. He said, you know, of course they're going to disagree with you. Of course they're going to edit you. Of course they're going to change your work. This is how it is. They're going to change the title. They're going to buy it and own it. Or, so yes. Yeah, very good. Who else? We got one right there, and then we'll go to the lady in the red. Yes?
Okay, I won't say which neighbor, but I related to what she said about disorganized, because I personally have not the best organization myself. It works for small things as far as writing.
Right.
But when it's huge, yeah.
You know, this is, again, everybody, because you have to organize your work, you got to get your thoughts. And of course, there's lots of strategies of mind mapping, and we all have folders, and we all got lots of ways to do it. I had a friend who was a caterer, and I said to him, I cannot believe that you can cater a room of 5,000 people and get it all done. And he said, well, it's really no harder than 50 or 500. You just take each thing into a square and assign it, and we all work a little area. So yes, your point of organization is perfect. Quit the disorganization. One more, the lady in the red.
Procrastination.
Were you waiting a long time to ask me that question? Yes, yes, procrastinating. We're going to talk about that in the next module too. So you're kind of leading me into this, so let's go on to the next one. So after we've figured out what we want to quit, we have to look at our vulnerabilities. And I call it our Achilles heel. If you remember the story of Achilles, he was this Greek famous warrior in the Trojan War. But when he was a baby, his mother took him to the magic river Styx. And the river Styx said that if you dipped your child in there, the baby would become immortal. So his mother very dutifully held him by his heel and dipped him in. Now, unfortunately, she didn't switch her hand and dip him again, so his heel didn't get the magic water, and he became vulnerable in that area. And when he grew up, I have to stop and just say, it's always the mother's fault. So when he grew up and he became a warrior, an arrow hit him in the heel, and he died. Thus, we call our weak spot, our vulnerability, our Achilles heel. And our Achilles heel gets in the way of what it is we want to do. And that thing that you have that you want, it's in the way of that. Now, my Achilles heel is unkind criticism. I think I'm really good because as a professional speaker, you get evaluated 50,000 times a year. Everybody writes an evaluation on you. So you get a little bit better at it. So I can take the ones that, where like Julia Cameron of The Artist's Way says, aha, so that's what's wrong with it. And you're incredibly grateful that they gave you, because now you can go fix that, and you might not have thought of it. What I don't like are the really harsh, nasty ones. At one time after a speech, I looked through all the evaluations, and I'm good, and then I get to this one. And it said, Mary seemed very self-impressed. She could have given that canned speech to an empty room. Ow. It was only 22 years ago, so I don't hardly remember it at all. It's true. Well, but you know what? Knowing that this was my Achilles heel, I could go, oh, yeah, that's how I react to that kind of stuff. And then I could say, okay, I want criticism, but I want the just kind. So usually if that happens, more than one person will write it on there. I didn't like this, or I didn't like that, or the room was too hot, or whatever. And I've also come to terms with the fact that I am not necessarily going to have everyone like what I do. Poor misguided fools. So I can acknowledge it, and then what I can do is leverage it. Because what our Achilles heel is, in there is an enormous strength. In there is that little pearl. Napoleon Hill says, in every adversity there is a seed of equal or greater benefit. It's a universal principle that applies lots of places. My boyfriend's here, and his Achilles heel is illogical people, illogical things. He hates illogic. It just makes him nuts. Well, he has leveraged it. He is a captain for United Airlines. It's kind of something we like in our pilots. That methodical thing. He doesn't get in the cockpit one day and they're getting ready to land, and he turns to his first officer and says, you know what? I have a crazy new way to land the plane. You want to try it? No. He's linear. He's analytical. He follows his checklist. It's perfect. He's leveraged it into an amazing thing. For me, my supersensitivity, it has grown in me a capacity for compassion that I might not have had before. And this weekend, I care deeply whether or not I give you ideas that can help you with your project. I'm not phoning this in. Stop me in the hall anytime with anything, and I will try to help you with that.